What's up and welcome into this special EPC of the Program Guys podcast. Today is Friday, September 2nd. There's an OU football game tomorrow against UTEP. We previewed that in our previous episode, but this EPC is about some breaking news that just came through the wire. It's that the college football playoff, boys, is expanding to 12 teams. Mark has a visceral reaction to that right off the bat, and I want to get everybody's take on that real quick. But the breaking news is there's a lot of different sources. ESPN was the first to break it. The board of managers of college football approve a 12-team playoff. That's a unanimous decision. Remember, a few months ago, they were 8-3 vote, and now it's a unanimous vote. So they vote for a 12-team playoff. Guys, what
to be clear,
yeah, go ahead.
That's a representative from each of the 10 conferences. So the Power Five and the Group of Five, plus Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director from stupid Notre Dame.
Yes.
Those guys are the ones that get to make that decision. And because it was a unanimous decision, we could have a 12-team playoff as early as 2024.
Yes. And that's
how quickly it could come into place.
So ESPN currently owns the rights for the college football playoff. Their rights end in 2025. So no matter what, guys, 2026, there's going to be 12 teams, but they're going to try to work backwards here and make this happen as soon as possible, especially with a unanimous decision like this. It could be as quick as 2024. We don't know as of 2:30 on Friday afternoon. We aren't 100% sure when that's going to happen, but what's your first reaction? Ryan, I'll go to you first. 12 teams. I mean, 4-12.
Yeah, it's a lot, and there's just so many details that I just want more information on. I'm just I have so many questions about how they're going to make this work logistically. I'm excited about it. I think it makes. I mean, I love the playoffs in the NFL, and if we get something similar here in college football, I mean, it's going to be great. I think there's just a lot of questions around like who gets in. I know they say 6 highest ranked champs automatically qualify and then 6 at large. To me, that seems like it's going to be 6 conferences, and then the rest of the 6 are going to be the Big Ten and the SEC, which is fine. OU will be in the SEC hopefully by the time this starts. I think my biggest takeaway though is like this was, I think, proposed like 15 months ago.
Yeah,
like this same format.
Yeah.
Why did it take us 15 months to get to this point?
Why did we just have to dance? Sucking. I mean,
we just had to like dance around this, and it's like, oh yeah, that thing you proposed a year and a half ago. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. I mean, we could have just gotten this ball moving so much sooner. Yeah. But you know what? I'm happy that it happened. I'm happy that we're going to get to it. I think it's going to be fun.
Ryan alluded to this. I'll get to you in a second, Pat. 6 highest ranked conference champions are going to get automatic qualifications. That does, yes. Mark,
no, what you say it, what you're about to say.
It doesn't matter what conference you're in. If you win your conference, and I was making this point to Ryan off air, if you're in the Sun Belt and you win your conference and you're ranked higher than the American Conference Football Champion, you get the bid. You're the one
or higher than, or let's say the Pac-12 conference
Correct.
champion.
Yes.
Right. If UCF is better than the team from the ACC one year, the ACC might just be out.
Yeah.
That was a sticking point for Power Five groups last time around, and I'm glad it wasn't this time.
Yeah.
How are they working Notre Dame into this? Do we know?
We don't know yet. But I'm going to go ahead and say I'll round this out. 6 highest ranked conference champions qualified. Then you get 6 at-large bids going to complete the field. Notre Dame's probably going to be one of those at-large bids. Pat, I want to get your thoughts on this. Go ahead and dive in. Pat, you're muted.
Yep, there we go.
All good.
I always wanted it to be a staggered approach to see how 8 would work before 12. So I think 12 is a lot. We've talked a lot about this in the past too, how there's a huge gap of talent between the number 1 team in the country and the number 12 team in the country. And so I don't know, maybe number 5 is going to play number 12 and number 1 gets a bye, but that's a lot of teams to me. And I wanted to go to 8 first. I wanted to see 8 first.
I think it's really going to be the top 4 teams get buys and the bottom 8 all have to play each other. And then they move on to the next round. And then they play the top 4 teams and you play it out through there. That's what makes the most sense. And with 12, that's what it kind of has to be, right? I feel like the bracket's not going to work with 12. Like So somebody's going to 4 teams are going to have to get buys. Mark, did you have something to add? I know Pat made that point about the 1 through 12 dynamic. Those teams are not going to be equal. There's a giant gap between the number 1 team and the number 12 team.
It's not close, right? I mean, last year, number 12 was Pitt. Number 1 is Alabama. What are we talking about there? There's no world where Pitt enters a playoff and is able to play their way up to Alabama. If anything, it makes the teams at the top who get buys, it makes their ride easier because everyone they're playing against has played a game the week before and might have knocked off the tougher team.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, look, if we get on-campus playoff games out of this, I'm all for it.
Which we should.
That's what you want.
We should,
Yeah, when you triple the number of total games, you should absolutely get that. There's no excuse for it now. And hopefully we get it. Otherwise, it's just a participation trophification of college football, baby.
Yeah.
It should matter. Like OU's been to the playoff 4 times. The only other schools that have done that are Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama. And it's going to be a you get a bid, you get a bid, you get a bid, you get a bid. And that sucks. I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, you're totally fine. I mean, I think logistically it makes so much more sense to do like at home playoff games and just keep it where the final 3 games are like the bowl games and then the championship and just keep it the same. Like I read this article that Mason sent us, like the national championship for 2024 and 2025 are already scheduled. They're already like, I think they're in Atlanta and Miami.
Yeah.
That might be incorrect, but somewhere around there. Like just keep those and just add the playoff games to the home bases and just say the first 2 rounds are going to be in the top seeds home. And then when you get to the 3rd round and you get to the championship, then we move over to the bowl games. I think logistically that makes more sense for us moving into this system quicker.
This is the last thing I'll add, and then we can round this little quick episode out. We wanted to make this quick for you guys, but to Mark's point, this regular season has to mean something, right?
Yeah.
So to me, you have to be rewarded for being one of those top 4 teams. You have to be able to have home playoff games if that's what we're going to do here. Because if we're just playing neutral site games for these entire 12 teams, that's garbage. That's gobbledygook, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You play the regular season, it means something. And the proponents of college football always make that point that the regular season legitimately means something in college football. We're not going to see OU play UTEP anymore. Well, I'm sorry, we're just not, because they're going to have to cut games.
Yep.
Especially if with the SEC move, you're going to play 10 conference games a year. We don't have a shot. You can't play UTEP. You can't play Kent State. You can't do that stuff. So now, how do they work these schedules? Are you just going to play conference games? These massive non-conference matchups may be a thing of the past, because what's it matter? You get 12 teams in.
It absolutely matters to the group of 5. And if we're talking about like that, one of those group of 5s is going to get in. Like you might take the Power 5 every time. If we're talking about what you're talking about, Mason, and we're just keeping it in conference, the group of 5 is not going to have the schedule that the other 5 are going to have. Therefore, they are never going to be able to get to the ranking level that they need to be to compete with someone like a Pac-12.
Cincinnati just did.
Cincinnati's moving to the Big 12. I mean, there's a lot.
Sure,
of
but they
teams.
just did it in the world that we're in now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they played some non-conference games. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is if we don't have any non-conference games, I mean, they beat Notre Dame last year, right? I mean, that was their big like, here, look at me ticket into the playoff.
I mean, they're playing Arkansas tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff they got to do to get noticed.
Yeah, but if we take it just as like and Cincinnati's a bad example because they're moving to the Big 12. But if we take somebody like Memphis, who like might have an opportunity in the American to win the whole thing, but they haven't played a Power 5 team, and we're going to put them above another Power 5 team who's in second place in a conference. It's just, there's a lot of logistics that you have to work out through this, and it's very complicated. But I want to touch on one more thing that you mentioned, Mason, around like home field advantage and making sure that like that matters. I don't think it just matters for the teams through 1 through 4. I think it also matters for teams 5 through 8 or whatever that number combination is, because if you have a team coming in like a Pac-12 winner, and the Pac-12 is way low this year because they lost USC and UCLA, they should not be ahead of a group of 5, or not a group of 5, sorry, one of the top 6 picks from like the SEC, like that has played a more difficult schedule, and that SEC team should have the home field advantage. I'm getting two in my basketball March Madness brain. So, I mean, I think it's important, not just from that we can't say these top 6 conference champions are not going to have the top 6 spots. Like, that's not the way this works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that it is. I don't think that that's what they're saying. I think that it's like everyone, like those 6 teams, and then selected 6, Notre Dame plus 5 more teams. That's the Jack Swarbrick effect. Is all 12 teams are automatically in there, and then they're going to seed them how they seed them. Right.
Got it.
Pat, round us out.
Yeah, it's better, but it's still not great.
Go ahead, Pat.
Worse.
Yep. Am I?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah,
it's better, but it's still not great. That's how I'll wrap it up.
Okay. Fair enough. Comment down below what you think of this new playoff format, 12 teams, how you think it's going to work out. Should teams get home field advantage? All of that stuff. We got an OU football game tomorrow. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, see all the videos that we have previewing the game. We're going to have a show for you on Sunday, wrapping up the OU UTEP game, as well as the full National College Football slate. Be sure to like us on, what am I saying? Wow. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcast, that's where you can find us, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like and subscribe, trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Thank you so much for joining us for this EPC. Pat, go ahead and take us out, bro.
Keep pushing it, baby.